Hey y'all, it's Des, and if you don't know me, I'm a full-time professional freelance artist that's been selling my paintings and illustrations since 2018. I'm completely self-taught, and I'm very passionate about my craft and ethical art business practices. Today, I wanted to talk about this recent Twitter drama that I came across on my feed because I believe it brings up some really important topics to touch on as a art seller and art creator. Please do not harass anybody involved, even if you don't agree with their behavior. We aren't making this video to harass or bully anybody, but rather to educate and comment on the situation as it unfolds. So this creator on Twitter, Neko1, we'll just call them Neko, made a post advertising their art commissions on VGen. Their post actually blew up because their art is really nice. It looks like they do a ton of art and OC drawings, as well as fan art of a game or media called Obey Me. And they got a few requests that went to their VGen waitlist. Everything was totally fine until they got to one specific commission request that apparently made them extremely uncomfortable. They ended up canceling and refunding the commission, which is entirely within the artist's rights. Artists are allowed to have boundaries about what they will and won't draw, and this is normal. A lot of artists will specify that they don't take, for example, furry commission requests because they only draw human OCs, or vice versa, and no artist is required to say yes to your commission. But people have a real problem with the artist's reasons for this cancellation, and I think I have to agree with them. So let's go over it real quick. This is the message they sent their client over VGen, who then made their experience public on Twitter. Richie, aka user Katsukis, on X, tweeted, "Welp gang, I would not recommend trying to commission if you're a queer person, I guess," with a screenshot that says the following. Okay, and this screenshot is a direct message from the artist to the commissioner, Richie, and Neko says, "I was reviewing the waitlist and came across your Yuma ship request. I truly apologize for the mistake of adding you before carefully reviewing it. Unfortunately, I won't be able to work on this piece as I do not draw queer couples. Please know it's absolutely nothing against your character or idea. It simply comes from personal religious belief, and I'm trying to stay faithful to that. I deeply apologize for not clarifying this earlier and for any inconvenience or disappointment this may cause. I'm sincerely grateful for your interest in Neko Commission, and I truly appreciate your understanding." Oh my goodness, my voice. Okay, thank you so much, and I'm really sorry for the oversight. So, this creator essentially canceled this paying customer's request because the ship that they sent in for a commission request was a queer couple ship, which is actually fucking ridiculous, because this has been pointed out by people who responded to this message that the creator herself, Neko, literally draws sexualized male demon characters and not safe for work of those demon characters, and a lot of the ships are from a popular game that involves a lot of queer characters. The characters that she's drawing, sexualizing, are male queer characters. And according to some of the comments on this thread, some of the demon characters that she draws that are queer characters canonically, she just ignores that part and makes them straight. Which is like a huge problem, actually. You can't erase such an essential part of that character's identity, especially if you're making like fan art of those characters and commissioning those characters and you're advertising that you draw those queer characters. Plus you're drawing and demons, which if you're saying that you don't draw queer people because of your religious beliefs, but you have the art of mammon, the personification of the sin of greed in the commission ad, people are gonna be confused. As somebody who is spiritual and was raised extremely religious, I understand that having certain boundaries around what you are willing to draw based on your religious convictions. But when those religious beliefs start to be bigoted, we're gonna have a problem. And I think that's definitely what's going on here. Because if it was for religious conviction, wouldn't the artist not draw demons? because that seems to be incredibly hypocritical, especially because she has a safe space in her bio and Free Palestine in her bio, which are usually seen in leftist spaces and accounts of people who generally aren't homophobic, especially when she is drawing queer characters and putting them in the commission ad. Claiming that you refuse to serve a customer because they ship a queer character is homophobia. No cap. They can draw sexualized men and women just fine, straight ships between humans and queer demons, but apparently two pretty girls kissing is too far. And I think this response from Cuppy Cake is spot on for the general reaction from the community, as well as my personal thoughts on the situation. Cuppy Cake writes, I'd commission you, but apparently a drawing of me and my girlfriend is too much for you. Please take safe space out of your bio. My pastor would have shaken his head in shame with someone like you using your faith as a shield for intolerance. As a friendly reminder, as somebody who has done Bible studies for many years, the premise that being gay is a sin is solely based on cultural bias and poor interpretation and translation. Anything it does touch on is referring to the sin of sodomy and lust, and not referring to relationships built on love. And they quote, as New Testament scholar Daniel Kirk has pointed out, Christians today would do well by the tradition of the apostles and our current witness in the world to recognize that, theological abstractions aside, God has already clearly embraced the LGBTQ plus community in full communion, and it is now the church's responsibility to simply honor that reality and rejoice. And it doesn't end there, because they actually have a response to being called out by Twitter for their homophobia, and oh my god, it made it so much worse. So much worse. Okay. Okay, let's go over this. Neko writes, hi everyone. I didn't expect to be awoken with a notification, or was expecting to, but I truly didn't expect this would blow up. First of all, I'm very sorry for the disheartening experience of what happened to the fellow past client who had a queer couple characters in their reference. I had just opened VGen a few days ago and was not aware of how the system worked. It was completely my fault for not checking and understanding how request submissions are done. I wrote an important note saying do and don'ts will be discussed in DMs, since I was used to how other platforms worked. But VGen is different. You have to submit a request first before being able to DM, and this was my fatal mistake. No, I'm not queer-phobic. Oh my god, girl. Oh my god, be so for real. I'm surrounded by many queer people, both in real life and online, who have helped shape me into a better person. But apparently, I choose not to engage in activities related to queer relationships while still being friends with queer people. Oh my fucking god, girl. I take full responsibility for the misunderstanding and will make sure this never happens again. I will update and rebuild my page with clear guidelines and info, and I deeply apologize to those who felt uncomfortable because of my lack of awareness. We're not uncomfortable due to your lack of awareness. We're uncomfortable because you're refusing to draw queer characters. And being homophobic, your reasoning is homophobic. Okay. They say, thank you to everyone who took the time to point it out. I truly appreciate the chance to learn and grow from this, and I hope we can be peaceful. Girl, if you still have any questions, please feel free to ask them, and I'll try my best to explain and answer them clearly. I fucking can't. Okay, this is fucking insane. This is a fucking unhinged response. She literally does not get the point of why people are upset with her. It's hypocritical as fuck. This creator is saying that queer relationships make them uncomfortable, but they aren't homophobic because they have queer friends, which is just like the most fucking annoying and stupid argument I've ever fucking heard. Have you ever heard a racist white man say that he's not racist because he has black friends? It's the same energy, and it's fucking gross. Like, if you're called out for being racist by a POC, you're gonna be like, you're either gonna have two reactions, okay? You're gonna be a white little bitch, and you're gonna say, oh, I wasn't being racist, I have black friends. Fuck you, okay? That's fucking ridiculous. Or you're going to do the right thing, and you're gonna say, oh, my bad, Can you educate me on why that was a racist thing to say or a racist thing to do, and I will do better next time. I will do my best. But this person is like, oh, I'll just make my rules clearer so that everybody knows that I don't draw queer relationships. Ugh. What the fuck? As someone who believes in God, and no, I don't identify as a Christian, but I do believe in God and Jesus and a universal loving energy and entity, and I truly believe that if he made humans, he made them exactly how they're supposed to be, and the trans and queer experience is included in that. Being queer is a completely natural experience, and I truly believe that it's divine, despite what the majority of Christian religious sects believe. God made the gays, and he made them perfectly in his image. If you believe in God, you believe that he made things perfectly. God isn't sending gay people to hell just for being themselves and having loving relationships. And to claim that you're uncomfortable drawing queer characters for religious reasons, but then drawing sexualized characters of men and women and actual demons is fine for your religious beliefs, I truly think you need to evaluate your priorities and the rules of your religion. This gives the implication and the impression that this artist views demonic entities as more okay and natural than drawing queer couples in a loving relationship, which is essentially demonizing the queer experience as a whole. Whew! Sorry, I'm just really fucking heated. And maybe I'm being dramatic and reading too much into it, but I have a tendency to analyze things. And to me, that's what this creator is saying. Being an actual demon is better than being queer, and that's a fucking disgusting thing to say with your actions, even if later you take it back by trying to say that you have queer friends. This kind of behavior encourages hateful and homophobic commentary in the art community, and the art community is a vast and diverse space with so many different kinds of people, including the LGBTQ+ folks that use their art as a way to find representation in media when other media avenues fail to portray queer relationships in a positive light. So many media is demonizing and vilifying queer relationships or queer people in general. We're either put as the villain or the comedic relief, and we're never given accurate representation. And it's something that we strive to find, so we make it ourselves. We have to draw it ourselves, because nobody is going to accurately portray a queer character better than a queer person. And we can see how this type of behavior encourages homophobia in the comments, with people supporting this artist's decision by saying stuff like, I refuse to draw furry art. Doesn't mean I hate furries. It's just not something I enjoy doing or I'm good at. And this is a fucking stupid argument, okay? It's not the same thing. It's not comparable. If you are able to draw humans, okay? Let's say you specialize in humans, and you say, hey, I don't draw furries because I don't know how to draw furries. That's totally okay. You're allowed to be like, hey, I don't draw furries. I don't draw not safe for work because that goes against my religion, okay? I don't draw couples because I only can draw one character. Okay, that's fine. You're allowed to do that. But if you are capable of drawing couples and you say, hey, I'm doing couple commissions, and you say that you refuse to draw queer characters, that's homophobic. Not being able to draw furries isn't furry phobic. That doesn't mean you hate furries, that just means you don't draw furries. And then we see comments like, never apologize to the woke mob, never apologize to the deranged. This lesson is to take from this is to ghost homo commissioners. You don't need to explain yourself. These people can't be reasoned with. It's the bake the cake bigot situation all over again. Do not apologize. I don't think you did anything wrong. You are the artist. If you're not comfortable drawing something, I don't think you should even need to give a reason. You did, and you were respectful about it. Now it's everyone else who isn't being respectful. Sorry. Okay, nobody isn't being respectful. People are just saying, hey, don't commission this artist if you're queer because they refuse to draw queer couple commissions. Like, that's not rude. That's not hateful. That's just saying like, that's spreading information about a creator who is actively discriminating against queer customers, and people want them to know that if you try to commission them for a queer character, they will not fulfill that request, even if you're a paying customer, because they hate queer people and they make them uncomfortable. Which, oh my god. And then we have a bunch of just these Wojak memes that are of, like, trans caricatures that are really, really disgusting, and never apologize to subhumans. Oh my god. And as you can see, when a homophobic person does something shitty, it's going to immediately summon the maggots who find it justifiable to spread hate and homophobia. And it generally encourages the discrimination and harassment of queer individuals because they're a bunch of bigoted assholes that use their religious beliefs to justify their ignorance and hatred. And after doing a bit more research, I discovered that the religious belief of this creator is specifically Muslim. And I'm not Muslim, but I know for a fact that part of the Muslim belief is that you're not supposed to draw living human beings. Which is essentially even more hypocritical, because it makes their argument make less sense. Because the drawing of any living creature is considered haram or sinful. So drawing demon from the media Obey Me would be considered against their religious beliefs, according to those religious beliefs. But that's fine. But drawing queer couples, that's apparently totally wrong, apparently. Which is obviously just cherry picking, and it's specifically choosing the one that relates most to their belief of being gay is a sin. And that's just homophobia. That's just using your religion to mask your homophobia. And it's just a cover-up for the fact that they are a homophobic person and they don't want to lose their audience that supports their work and happens to be queer. So they made a second response to the situation. And this one's even more fucking ridiculous and pisses me off even more. And it's just fucking funny. It's fucking stupid, okay? So Neko says, "It honestly feels a little uncanny how much attention this account and my VGen have been getting after. I just want to remind everyone that this is my art account, and it's a comfortable, safe space for me. Please also know that I do not justify or support any form of queerphobia, though at this point, some people have labeled me as one. I truly hope that everyone new here will continue to keep this space kind and respectful." Girl, be so fucking for real. Please. Oh my god, okay? It honestly feels a little uncanny, how you can pretend to be a victim for being called queerphobic when you are actively engaging in queerphobic nonsense. Like, you can't say that this is a safe space that's kind and respectful when you are disrespecting queer people, when you are actively creating canonly queer characters and turning them straight for your not safe for work demon. That's fucking ridiculous. That's absolutely fucking ridiculous. You really cannot say that when your excuse is your religious beliefs. And that's what Luke/Xander says, or commented on the post. Like, and I agree with that completely. You cannot be saying that your space is a safe space when you actively are discriminating against people and your excuse is your religious beliefs, when there are so many people who are religious and don't discriminate against queer people. They actively make a safe space for people who are queer. They ask that their account is kept a safe space when it isn't a safe space for anyone but them, since they're absolutely allowed to be queerphobic, and when called out on this behavior, they're unable to admit that they were in fact being homophobic by denying their customer their commission because it was a queer relationship. And at the end of the day, if you don't want to draw queer couples or queer characters, that is your prerogative. But be honest about why. If it's for religious reasons, then you need to hold yourself accountable to the other rules of the religious ideology and not cherry pick and not draw things that would be looked down on in your religious community at all. Not just because of one group, but all sinful activities. Many Muslim folks are trans or queer, and they deserve representation and a safe place to find their community as well. If you don't agree with certain rules of your religion, you aren't required to follow them, but you can't cherry pick what is and isn't a sin to you. That's not how religious belief works. Just be real. Just be so fucking for real and own up to the fact that queer relationships make you uncomfortable, and seeing queer people be queer makes you uncomfortable, and you don't draw them because you're homophobic. We need to hold artists to the same standard overall. If a white artist were to refuse to draw people of color, we would consider them to be a racist artist because they're excluding people of a certain group based on their skin tone. And we can apply this concept to queer characters as well. Queer characters are literally just people. If you can draw a person, or OC in general, I don't think it's appropriate whatsoever that you refuse to draw queer characters. If you are capable of drawing couples, you should be capable of drawing couples of any gender. If you don't want to, for some reason, like if you have some kind of, I don't know, homophobic reasoning, I have to wonder what that reasoning is, and the only reason that makes sense is that the artist that refuses to draw a queer couple is queerphobic. Just like an artist who refused to draw a mixed or POC couple would be racist. Imagine an artist turning down your commission of a couple because one of the characters isn't white. That would be inherently bigoted and fucked up, and there would be no argument about that. And it is the same in this case, so I don't know why so many people are arguing, oh, it's not homophobic, she said it respectfully. No matter how nice someone is about their homophobia or their racism or their discrimination in general, doesn't mean that they're not being discriminatory. Somebody can say, oh yeah, sorry, I mean this with complete respect, but I just think being black is a sin. It's against my religion. That's fucked up! What are you talking about? Oh my god. And the thing is, she says she's not queerphobic and her space is a safe space. But her account is being swarmed with violently homophobic comments and slurs towards the LGBTQ community, and she's not hiding those or responding to those, but she's fighting against the people who are calling her homophobic. And that's what she's upset about. So as a queer artist, I personally believe that we need to be more cautious of the artists that we are supporting and the media that we are consuming, or at least be mindful of it when we are consuming it. I'm not saying if an artist does some questionable activity, they need to be ran off the internet. I don't believe in that. But I do believe in holding artists accountable, and if somebody does some homophobic shit, they should be called out for it. And if they don't want to be considered a homophobe, they'll need to apologize and adjust their behavior. But this artist is just doubling down, and that generally makes me so upset. Because, like, her art is good. Her art is very good. It's cool art, and she makes plenty of cool fan art, and lots of people want to commission her. And she could have lots of people supporting her and in her corner that aren't a bunch of shitty people, and actually, like, respect artists, and other people. But she just doesn't want to. The cool thing, I guess, that makes me feel better is that there are plenty of queer artists out there who would love to paint your queer couples and won't deny your commission just because you're queer. There are some absolutely amazing artists out there that specialize in drawing queer characters. Me included. Hi, I'm an artist. I draw queer characters, and I'm also queer, so keep that in mind. But I think after seeing an art drama like this, it's important to raise up queer creators and support them so that we can see more queer representation in the art community and the media that we consume. Anyways, that was my rant. I don't usually make drama videos. My channel's pretty new, actually, so I don't know what I usually make. But if you want me to talk about more community hot topics and make another video like this, and hear me rant, leave a like, a comment, and give me some ideas of topics to go over. Before I end the video, just a reminder that I have a Ko-fi and a Patreon where you can get exclusive access to behind-the-scenes content, works in progress, and early page releases of my webcomic that I'm working on about a queer couple, and it's called How We Fell Apart. I also sell stickers, prints, emotes, original art, and more on my Ko-fi and my Etsy, and all of them as well as my socials are linked below, so please check it out if you're interested, and I'll see you there. Thank you guys so much for watching. Stay weird, stay cringe, stay safe, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!